Dingus and Dongus.
Hey, Michael.
Episode 51.
We're both alive.
Yep, we both survived.
Hooray!
It was so weird because, like, I think you told me and Danny you, like, tested positive for COVID on, like, Wednesday or something.
Yeah.
And then literally, like, 2 days later on Friday, I was like, uh-oh. I got something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't COVID.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. But, like, yeah, like...
You just got a hint of COVID.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't get all of it, but just like
a whiff of it.
A waft. A little COVID waftling.
Waftling?
Waftling. That's my new term.
That, I feel like, should be a magic card.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like it.
Especially, remember when they were doing those joke packs and shit like that?
Yep.
A waffling. It's just a little fart demon.
So we read Frankenstein, Agent of S.H.A.D.E, War of the Monsters by Jeff Lemire, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Out on DC, of course.
It's part of the new 52 thing that they were doing back in the day.
Right, like the 20 teens. I forget
Right.
when. 2012 maybe? For this particular book?
early-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. And we've covered a few books written by Jeff Lemire as
We
well.
have. And we also covered a tiny little itty-bitty portion of Frankenstein way back when with, I believe, Wonder Woman? He showed up. There was a glimpse of Frankenstein in there.
Yeah.
And that's what inspired this.
Okay. I enjoyed it for what it is, but it also felt kind of derivative.
It's campy nonsense.
Yeah.
And War of Monsters.
Yeah. It's really silly, and the basic premise, at least for the first part of the volume, is there's a planet of literally monsters that opened up a portal underneath a place called Bone Lake.
Yep.
And and all the monsters are invading Earth.
To consume it, right?
Yeah.
As a sustenance. Life. So these monsters essentially are parasites.
Right.
Because the planet they're on in this other dimension wasn't their home planet. It's just what they traveled to consume.
Yep.
And it is dying.
Yeah, it was like a sentient planet, and during the issue they eventually found out that the planet itself was sending out like a distress signal or something.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a planet full of monsters. You got sea monsters, you got land monsters.
Well, I was going to ask you, did you have a favorite monster? Because they're all pretty awesome to me. But I have one that I like.
I have a soft spot for like deep sea horror, so probably the sea monsters.
That's exactly what I was going to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that big sea monster was my favorite.
Yep. Especially since like all the little monsters thought the mermaid was their mommy.
Right. I thought there was not surprisingly, a decent amount of like subplots and side story within this trade, because you have Frankenstein and Mermaid Lady's relationship that is no longer a relationship, but Frankenstein doesn't want that to be true to a degree. Like, she's his ex-wife, right? Or not mermaid.
No, it's literally Frankenstein's wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not together anymore. So there's kind of that, I don't know, relationship tension there.
Yeah.
And then you got tension with the humanids becoming sentient. Mm-hmm. All of this while Frankenstein and his team of horror movies from Universal go and fight monsters.
Yeah, you got your vampire bat, you got your werewolf,
and you got a magic mummy. Yeah.
It's literally Universal Monsters.
And it's great. I love it. I just bought a Universal Monsters puzzle today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Like a jigsaw?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. How many pieces?
I don't know. Maybe 1,000. I think 1,000.
Nice. This will be a nice, cozy time.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was just, there's a lot to it. And then, on top of that, those monsters we just discussed were created by a scientist.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I It was the mermaid lady.
Yeah, and she fucked up the first time.
Yeah.
So there's like fucked up monsters
Yep. There's
that are hidden away.
including I believe at the very end, Frankenstein's son.
Yep. So we're all over the place with the book and
Yeah.
how it. Fuck it. Who cares? Just read it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. But like those fucked up monsters were in like a little space ball
Yeah.
inside of the other little like space ball.
Yeah, it's like one of those Matryoshka dolls.
Exactly. But the deeper you go, the more fucked up it gets.
Yeah, yeah. It just gets more monstrous and more monstrous.
Yes.
And it's great. Now, I do want to point out. So I noticed the mermaid lady's design looks a lot like a sapien.
That was my immediate response to it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
And in fact, there's a lot of just like references to other comics throughout this entire book.
Yeah.
Like there's the Red Dr. Manhattan.
Oh!
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little Vietnam, giant red naked guy.
Instead of blue.
Yeah. So, yeah, fucking giant Dr. Manhattan. There's an Abe Sapien reference with the mermaid lady. The furball special instead of the fastball special.
Yep. Yeah.
So little Easter eggs sprinkled throughout that I enjoyed.
It was fun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, the Dr. Manhattan thing. Because I recognized it, and in my head, like, I was thinking of something else besides this book, but I didn't pinpoint it. I was like, oh, that's something else.
I could have sworn, like, at least one of the panels where it's, like, the giant red dude in the Vietnam jungle.
Right.
That literally could have come out of Watchmen.
Right. Just straight lifted.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just, let's change them to red.
It's
instead of
fine.
blue.
Yeah. That's enough that we don't... Well, they own that. DC owns that, so never mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No. I guess it matters to Alan Moore, but yeah.
Isn't he a bit of a misanthrope?
I don't know.
Is he a nihilist?
I think he's just a kooky, weird guy who thinks he has magic.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But oh shit. I had something in the back of my head about the book, but now I'm thinking about Alan Moore.
It'll pop up. I think by and far the single greatest thing in this book to me was a little tiny girl being called Father.
Yeah, is it a girl or a boy? I don't actually know.
I'm making assumptions.
Yeah.
I don't think I have a definitive...
Because, I mean, it's
I'd have to go
kid,
look. Yeah.
But, like, it could be a boy in girl's clothing.
Could be. I just made the assumption out the rip.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I apologize. But
this entity named
Father.
Father Time also has two pigtails.
Yep.
That are very cute, and one of those old school just over the eyes masks.
Yes.
It's like, what is that?
I don't know.
I just feel like I wonder if. Well, okay, so you get some context about who Father Time is, and apparently, like, he or she, it changes bodies every so often.
Right, yes.
So you think, like, every time they go through this change, they just, like, decide on an outfit? Like Doctor Who?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm curious now, if they go through this change, is it that they are choosing to maybe change into a younger person so they can grow old again? Or are they just whatever they choose for X amount of time and then swaps over? So is this character always, like, we'll just say the cycle is 3 years. I have no clue. Are they just the same non-aging kid for 3 years and then they swap and they're Alan Moore for 3 years? Like, I'm curious there.
And another thing, if they literally restart a life cycle, do they come back as a baby? And what happens when they're a baby?
Right. I don't know.
I'm not very familiar with Father Time at all. Like, I've seen him pop in and out of a couple of the other books I've read, but I just don't really know much about him.
I don't know shit about him either.
Yeah.
I can't recall any book outside of this one where I've seen Father Time pop in. At least this Father Time character.
Right. Yeah, and I think like all my like readings of him have been like kind of Justice League Dark magic involved like stuff that he shows up in.
But there were some like conveniences in storytelling on this. Like they just magically had those giant tank tread spiked Warhammer looking things with guns. Sure. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of convenience. And then the little magical ball that the science lab or whatever's in is spatial whatever. Like it's huge on the inside. Like
right.
It's a metropolis almost, or a big city in it. But on the outside, to the outside world, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's just a convenient plot point.
Yeah.
So there's a few things that are just, okay.
Yeah. It's just stuff there to just, let's move it along.
Yeah.
Well, which is fine, like, if it's done well and it's not, like, really important shit that they're, glossing over. Perfectly fine.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed the dynamic between the vampire character and the werewolf character. It was just a good little, because, like, the vampire character is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And the werewolf character is kind of like a cowering puppy almost.
Yeah.
In relation to their relationship,
Right.
When they're fighting the hordes of monsters and shit, that's not the case at all. There's a lot of awesome bloodshed and shit. Mm-hmm. But it's like, that's a cute little dynamic.
On the topic of the werewolf being like a, little puppy, I just distinctly remember this one panel where, it's the team walking somewhere, and you see the werewolf on all fours, walking like a dog.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's just like one little tiny panel. It's like, I have never seen that. Like, I've seen werewolves where it's literally just a person turned into a wolf.
Right.
And I've seen werewolves where it's a person turned into a anthropomorphized wolf on two legs.
Yep, kind of hunched.
Yeah, but I've never seen, like, one that goes back and forth.
Right. I've never seen one that stays in werewolf form and runs on all four.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat. And I also want to say, so the vampire's name is Velcoro, but the entire time I was reading it, it's Velcro.
Velcro, yeah. Same. Yeah. It just really stuck with me.
Yeah. Every time I can't do that because I use a digital reader. I was going to say, every time I turn the page, it's like...
Just get some, and then, never mind. That's going nowhere.
Yeah, it's a dead joke.
I also like that no one had, because Fish Lady didn't make the mummy, did she?
They just found
They just found the mummy, and it's just a magical mummy that hangs out with them, and that's hilarious to me. It's like, oh, look, a mummy. It's like, what are you doing, man?
You want to hang?
You want to hang? And then the mummy just fucking like heals people, and everyone's like, I don't know how it works, but I'm glad they're on our side.
Right. Now you were making some mummy sounds there, and I want to. So there's a lot of onomatopoeias in the story, like and stuff like that, right? But like I don't know, for some reason this time when I was reading all of them, I read it as the characters saying Hearn.
What?
And Murph. Like, literally pronouncing the onomatopoeias, like,
right.
Instead of, like, expressing it.
Fair.
But they're just reading it out as words. It's just
super mundane.
Yeah.
Murph.
I don't know why the fucking... And it's never happened to me before, like, reading a comic where I know what it's supposed to sound like. Mm-hmm. But this time around, I just decided to read it that way. It's fucking hilarious.
There was also a moment... This is going to jump back to Juggernaut, too, where Frankenstein, like, skydives without any safety stuff.
Yeah.
And this jumps into combat. And I apparently really love it when characters do that, because Juggernaut did that. And I thought it was the greatest thing ever. So I need to find more books where just monstrous-sized characters, we'll say,
yeah,
skydive into battle. Can you think of any?
I
Oh, fucking and World War Hulk.
yeah.
Space dives into battle.
Yep. Oh God.
Like standing on top of a spaceship, just like, yeah.
A giant spaceship made out of rocks.
Yeah. There's just something about that imagery that I just find fascinating.
It's fucking
Dumb.
Yeah.
And I love it.
it's stupid. It reminds me what are they called? Kinetic weapons?
I mean, that's a thing.
Yeah. Like where they then there's a plan to like send up a bunch of like metal rods and literally just like drop them on Earth as a weapon.
Yeah.
It's like that, but with a big giant monster.
Yeah.
Which makes it even better. Okay, so about the humanids, right? That's something we've seen a lot in comics, where it's like, or just sci-fi in general, where it's all right, this AI type thing suddenly gains sentience, and what do you fucking do about it?
Right. Yeah.
But the way it's weaved into the story, it's it got me a little puzzled because it came around the same time as when they were talking about the Vietnam War and how we shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
And basically big organizations, whether it's companies or governments, fucking up and like just doing shit they're not supposed to. I guess it'll be picked up in maybe the second volume, but I'm kind of wondering like how it ties together. It feels like it should tie together, like thematically, Vietnam War and this situation over here.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't wrap my head around it quite yet.
I didn't bother trying.
Yeah.
I didn't associate the two.
Okay.
Really. I could see why one would.
Yeah.
I was just like trying to figure out how they created these humanids that only exist for a small period of time and then break back down to be recycled and to make new humanids.
Right.
Why? Like, do they decay? And if so, if they're recycled, wouldn't it still decay?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, why break it down and then do a recycle into it? Unless they're doing additives, I don't know.
Well, I guess, like, so initially they were recycled to be energy sources, not back into humanids. And then they figured out how to recycle back into humanids.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. But I don't know. It seems like a weird, like, why would you want a workforce you have to reteach every single time? Or do they come?
I assume it's just like insert whatever computer chip or insert whatever consciousness,
right?
Like in the manufacturing process.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really go into what it is. They're just like weird yellow things.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they are, really.
Right.
So, are they magic? Do they get zapped with magic, or is it all
Well,
tech?
I think. Well, I don't know. All I know is Brother Eye's involved.
Yeah.
And that's an AI, so there's got to be some sort of tech aspect to it.
That's right. I remember that now, because there was a virus or something.
Yeah.
And that's what spawned the sentience.
Yeah. But then it's also weird because, like, apparently Father Time was trying to get the virus to, like, pop up in the system.
Right.
So, like, what's going on there?
I don't know.
There's, like, loose threads that could be tied up, but we don't really know.
Yep, fair. And I literally got this, though, just because of monster funness.
Yeah.
This other stuff was just added little treat that gave it some depth for me.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't answer all the questions. I don't really care. It's like, oh, that's an interesting thought. Back to monsters now.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of monsters, and I was happy with that.
Yeah. And I think all that other, like, neat little stuff is just Jeff Lemire being Jeff Lemire.
Fair. Yeah.
And he likes to play with these ideas.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's a solid read. Did you see how long the run goes for?
No. I honestly when I first looked into it from reading Wonder Woman, I'm pretty sure it was Wonder Woman. I can't quite remember. I thought it was only just this, but it's trade paperback volume 1. Maybe there's a 2 and 3 or something. I don't know. I haven't looked it up. I just thought this was it. But the way it ended with the other first round of monsters coming out and the kid, like, it doesn't sound like it ends.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I think I would. I don't know. If it goes on sale, I might check out some of the later volumes because I do enjoy the characters. I like Jeff Lemire's writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if you like monsters, if you like giant tank treads with spikes and machine guns and AI science fiction bullshit, read it. It's fun.
Now, one thing is, I want to know is the art. It gets a little messy and cluttered sometimes. I don't know if you
confusing.
Yeah,
is how I read some of the pages.
Yeah, like I noticed some of the action panels that like a single panel will have like I don't know actions layered on top of each other.
Yep.
That gets it
a sequence of actions all within one panel or one page even that you have to sit. I appreciated it because there's one where Frankenstein's like jumping down onto OMAC, and I thought it was really interesting that it showed movement through what you would think would be multiple panels, but just on one page, and that was cool to look at. But you had to look at it to really like almost micro study to figure out what's going on.
Yeah,
and there's a couple pages that did that.
It definitely like takes time to parse out what's actually going on, and if you're I don't know, if you're just like breezing through it, like
good luck. Yeah,
it could get a little confusing.
But I've always appreciated art in comic books. Like I wouldn't say nowadays more so than the writing; they're about equal for me now. But strong emphasis on art, and I appreciate that they tried to show movement and action without the barriers of panels, just the flow. Didn't always work out, but it's cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's always nice to see people trying something, you know, a little different.
And it's not like it was garbage art when they did it. It's just a technique that didn't really pan out the greatest, but still cool. Yeah.
I do like the sketchiness of, like, the art.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about like just sketchy looking art that like really appeals to me. Like I don't know, just I guess the rawness of it. I don't know.
Do you own black Skechers?
I do.
Awesome.
I think I've been like buying the same pair of black Skechers for like the past 10 years or something.
I mean, I've mostly been doing that with my shoes. I changed it up.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there.
Yeah. For the album this time, it went with Voivod Synchro Anarchy. Came out earlier this year. And it's weird.
Where are they from?
Quebec.
Ah, damn you.
What?
Oh. Okay, you're right.
Where are you going?
I'm not telling you.
Oh, god damn it.
But you took my punchline.
Oh, god damn it. Now I'm trying to, like, think.
Nope, what? Continue. Who put it out? I don't recall.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I don't really care.
Doesn't matter. No.
Yeah. But fucking weird-ass album. I wouldn't call it thrash anymore.
No, not at all. I don't know what to call it.
Yeah, it's very, to me, very psychedelic and just kind of. The only thing is, it's just weird.
It's weird.
I don't know like how to categorize it.
It's interesting that you say psychedelic because if you take a step back and it's not psychedelic like people might think of. With, like, I don't know, Jefferson Airplane or Black Sabbath or Pink Floyd, right? But it's psychedelic in that it takes these weird-ass chunks of instruments that are doing weird bullshit together, and extrapolates that as if you can visualize taking guitars, bass, drums, all that, put it in a ball and bring it out into its own instrumental sound by itself. And takes a series of those to make this weird, spacey, psychedelic sound. Mm-hmm. That's the best way I can describe it.
And I guess like the way you're describing it, it sounds like you got like bass, drums, vocals, guitars, all doing their own thing.
Yeah.
But then it at least for me, it all comes together and works as a song.
Yes,
that works.
Right. Yeah, they're all doing their own thing, but within these chunks of them doing their own thing creates that new instrument that the song's created from.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've never been a huge Voivod fan, it's fine. But this album was interesting. And I liked hearing Snake go, "We're all world eaters," over and over. It's like, yes! I want this to be Galactus' theme song so bad.
There's a lot of like surprisingly catchy parts to this album, given how bizarre everything just sounds.
Yes.
One of my favorite parts is the end of the last song. That riff just sounds so absurdly drunk. It's like I don't know how else to describe it other than this music got really drunk. Like this music somehow drank a shit ton of Everclear or something. And it presented itself to us.
Oh man, I don't be presented to.
But I listened to that, that riff over and over, trying to figure out how the fuck they got it to sound like that. And I can't fucking figure it out.
I couldn't tell you.
Like, it's got to be some mixture of, like, technique and, like, different instruments doing different things. Mm-hmm. And then just some music theory crazy shit that they know that I don't. But it's amazing, and I wish I want to do something like that.
It's interesting to think, in general, with weirdo music, how much is, we'll say, a creative flex with musicianship and like mastering their art and their craft, and how much is doctored studio shit. Having seen Voivod live, I don't think there's much doctoring. There's some, of course, because it's a name in a studio.
Right.
But they know their shit.
Yeah. and I mean, at least this incarnation of Voivod, it's got Dan Mongrain on guitars. And he's like a legit like music professor up in Quebec. Quebec. So yeah, he obviously knows his fucking shit. And it's always been really interesting to me since Dan Mongrain joined, how much he's able to replicate the sound of Piggy without just straight up copying. Like, it still sounds like Voivod.
Right.
But it's different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was the last album that Piggy was on?
It might have been Couture's or the one after.
Okay. So, I mean, it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, there's just a lot of fun stuff happening on this album. Like, I remember somewhere on the first half of the album, there's this weird, like, syncopated call and response thing that the guitars and I think the bass does, where they just kind of trade off. But it's, like, super syncopated, and I don't know where things end and where things begin.
Yeah.
And there's actually a lot of riffs on this album where I don't quite know where it begins versus where it ends.
Yeah.
But that call and response thing from that one song I was talking about, that part it really grabbed me. It's so weird, and it's timing wise, it just sounds so bizarre to me. And I'll be very embarrassed if it's actually just like really simple. But like I don't know. They're just doing some weird shit that I can't wrap my head around.
Yeah. I got a very strong sense of, we'll say, what people, how do I say this? The music reminded me of science fiction from like the 1950s.
Okay, yeah.
It's the best way I can put it.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound like anything that comes out in the 50s, like
No.
with the music or not even style. Like, it just weird science fiction.
Yeah.
And it made me think of 1950s science fiction movies. Kind of hokey, cheesy movies. But
Yeah.
this music.
I mean, that's always been kind of Voivod's thing.
right,
Like, at least
yeah.
lyrically.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like hokey sci-fi shit.
Yeah.
But now, like, what you're saying is the music really matches that the lyrical themes or whatever, right?
Of the 1950s specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe 60s. I'll go early 60s.
Early 60s?
50s to early 60s.
Yeah. What do you think of their art direction?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I really did. It's sloppy.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? What it reminds me of is, say, Aliens did cave painting.
Okay.
That's what, in my head, would be. That's what Voivod's art has been. Is cave, yeah, alien cave paintings.
What era of Alien, though?
Definitely like prehistoric, like stick figure-y. Yeah, crude depictions of things. Of alien things. Which, yeah, I think that's, a pretty good match for the art that Away has been doing for Voivod for, however long he's been doing their art now. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's I know there was a time where I wasn't a huge fan, but that art style has grown on me, like, over the years.
Well, in this particular one, it's just intentionally bad, and it works really well.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not that it was done poorly.
Yeah.
It was done with, you could tell it was intentionally done poorly.
Yeah.
I don't know, I really liked it. I saw it, and it fits the music,
mm-hmm.
and everything just goes really well together.
Yeah, it's definitely on my top 5 releases this year, I think.
I think it is on mine by default.
Yeah. Same, but But I would like to say if I listen to more, this would still be in my top 5.
Probably, yeah. Just because it's standout, we'll say.
Yeah, there's not much I've heard quite like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just a fun listen. And one more, God damn it, what was it? Oh, the Cynic song. So the I don't know if you caught this but the second to last song, I think I forgot the name. It sounds like a Cynic song done by Voivod.
I'll have to go and listen to it again.
Yeah, mostly because of that the first section of the song. It's got this the double picking technique
mm-hmm.
that Cynic does a lot, where they outline chords. Basically, they pick out each note of the chord by itself, but they play each note like twice.
Gotcha.
Cynic does that a lot, and I heard it on this album on, I think, the second to last song, and used in a very similar way that I personally think Cynic does use this technique. Is like, oh shit, so this is what Cynic would sound like if they're from Quebec in South Florida.
Yes. I wonder how often Luke hangs out with these guys from Gorguts.
I don't know.
You'd think, like, musically they would like to hang out.
Yeah, I mean, like from what I can tell, they're at least Luke is a big fan of Voivod, and I know Dan Mongrain played in Gorguts back in From Wisdom to Hate. So, I mean, they definitely know each other.
Yeah, they've crossed paths.
Yeah.
Maybe they just don't hang out with anyone. I think about that sometimes.
Maybe.
Like, who is Corpse Grinder hanging out with? Probably no one. He's probably hanging out with his family, to be honest.
Hanging out with his guild.
Or, assuming he still plays, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think about that. Like, we have Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And certain people hang out with other people. Not that any band's huge. I'm just curious. Like, who are the folks in Dark Angel hanging out with? Do they hang out with other bands at all? Or do they just
chill out with Testament?
I don't know.
They have like backyard barbecues.
I don't know. Like,
right?
Or are they just so old and cynical and keep to themselves? I don't know. I like to think that there's some community still, because I know you hear about the old days of quote unquote scenes and people hanging out. But did they really, or did they just go to shows?
Right.
I'm sure when they were younger, they were going to parties or whatever.
Right.
But like,
I mean, and we did that.
Yeah.
But it also gets harder when you get older and you're tired.
Right.
And your feet hurt.
True. So, oh man, I've been standing. My knees are killing me.
Like, I fucked up my foot back in October. It's still fucked.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe go to the doctor.
I probably should.
Yeah.
Is like, because all I did was, is tuck my leg under me, and then it's just like, oh, there's a sharp pain there now.
Right. And that's how I sit like that often myself.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot more weight going down on them. So.
Oh, be careful.
Yeah.
Because apparently you can do something to your foot that will keep hurting for months. Whatever it is.
Yes.
But Voivod.
Voivod.
It's a good album. It's called Synchro and Anarchy, and you should listen to it.
Dingus and Dongus.
Hey, Marco.